Good evening. Welcome to North West Tonight with Annabelle Tiffin. Our top story: brave, fearless and kind. An outpouring of grief and tributes for Brianna as police question two teenagers. Police are still questioning the teenagers on suspicion of her murder. Also tonight, an appeal for calm after the violent disorder outside an asylum seeker hotel in Knowsley. The ingredients for success. Uncle Joe's Mint Balls celebrates 125 years in Wigan.
And it's been a pleasant start to this week. But how's it looking for the rest? Join me at the end of the programme. I'll give you all the details.
A larger-than-life character who was beautiful, witty and hilarious. That's how Brianna Ghey's family described the 16-year-old today after she was stabbed to death in a park in Warrington. Police are continuing to question two teenagers arrested on suspicion of her murder. Our reporter Eunice Muller is at the park in Culcheth where the attack took place. Eunice.
Annabelle, detectives are trying to establish the exact circumstances surrounding Brianna's death, but what is clear is that she was well known both here in the wider community and also on social media. And today her family have described how losing her has left a massive hole in their lives, along with the lives of her friends and her teachers. And in a statement they say that Brianna was a much-loved daughter, granddaughter and baby sister. She was a larger-than-life character who would leave a lasting impression on all that met her. Brianna was beautiful, witty and hilarious. Brianna was strong, fearless and one of a kind. Now, one girl travelled from Liverpool with her mum today to leave flowers here at the scene in Culcheth. A number of young people also arrived here to lay flowers and tributes, leaving in tears. Brianna went to Birchwood High School. The head teacher there said how everyone there was devastated by what's happened and how support was available, and also how the wider community here has been affected.
She was quite introverted, but like when you actually got to speak to her and like, what's the word? Like she was, just bubbly and sweet and stuff, yeah.
I can't imagine losing a child. I can't imagine what the parents must be going through, and to think what she must have been going through, it's horrible.
Brianna was a transgender girl, but police say there is no evidence to suggest that this was a hate crime and say that any speculation is unhelpful. But there has been support for Brianna here, with tributes left by the transgender community.
We're married, so we're like already part of the lesbian gay community, and then obviously learning that she's transgender as well, it just shouldn't be happening, so it feels like you kind of owe it to them to come down, really.
Pay your respects.
And Eunice, what is the latest on the police investigation?
The park is just a few minutes walk away from Culcheth Village Centre, but the park itself would have been busy on a Saturday afternoon. There would have been a number of dog walkers, and police are appealing for footage, CCTV or dash cam. They still haven't found the murder weapon or established a motive, but two teenagers, a boy and a girl aged 15, have been arrested on suspicion of murder.
Eunice, thanks very much. Police in Lancashire looking for missing mum Nicola Bully have carried out more detailed search of land around the bench where her mobile phone was found. The 45-year-old disappeared 17 days ago while out walking her dog along the river in St Michael's-on-Wyre. Her partner called for a search of land and outbuildings during a television interview on Friday. An investigation is underway into the cause of a large fire at a pub in Rawtenstall. Around 30 firefighters from Lancashire and Greater Manchester dealt with the blaze at the Old Cobblers Inn yesterday afternoon. Everyone in the pub managed to get out safely. The Prime Minister Rishi Sunak was in Oldham today visiting one of the region's community diagnostic centres. It's hoped quicker access to treatment will reduce the backlog of non-emergency care. The Oldham Centre's one of the biggest. Two more have just been announced for Holton and Liverpool.
These centres bring together all the different types of checks, tests and scans that people need, take them out of hospitals, closer to people's homes in the community, making it easier for them to access that treatment and get it far quicker. It's really working. It's making a major difference in cutting waiting lists, and that's why we're rolling out almost 150 of these across the country.
An asylum seeker has told the BBC he no longer feels safe going into Kirby after Friday night's disturbances there. Merseyside police arrested 15 people after violence broke out at the Suites Hotel in Knowsley. A police officer and 2 members of the public suffered minor injuries. We'll be speaking to Merseyside's Police and Crime Commissioner in a moment, but first, here's our Merseyside reporter, Andy Gill.
A mobile police station was in position at the Suites Hotel in Kirby this afternoon. The gates were kept locked, except to allow people and vehicles in and out. One resident, Mohammed, told us he fled war in Sudan. Friday night's events have left him scared to leave the hotel.
No, I don't feel safe. Because all we need to, in this life, we go the Kirby. For the food, for the football, for the church, everything in Kirby. Now we can't go there. Because we see these people, he hate us.
A peaceful protest and counter-protest had been happening outside the hotel when people arrived whom police said were only interested in causing trouble. People we spoke to in Kirby today condemned the violence, even if they're opposed to asylum seekers being housed here.
And most of them are all single men. I don't mind that if there was families there, that's not a problem, but they're all single fellas. So,
but what do you think about what happened on Friday night?
Well, I think that was a disgrace. Shouldn't have been like that. It's supposed to be a peaceful demonstration, which it never was.
I agreed with the protest, but it went too far. But yeah, I don't think there should be. It's too close to home. We only live there.
I think it's an awful thing to happen. The people around here, generally speaking, aren't against anybody coming into the area.
At the weekend, one campaigner on behalf of refugees said the Home Office should move people out of the hotel.
I'm so worried for the people in this hotel. I really, really hope they move them out of here.
Police believe many local concerns are based on social media rumours about an inappropriate advance to a teenage girl. They said today that allegation is under investigation, but that sharing unsubstantiated rumour is not the way to raise concerns. The mayor of the Liverpool City region also condemned the violence.
That sort of thing we don't want to see in the Liverpool City region. In somewhere, by the way, in a few months, that will be welcoming tens of thousands of people here for Eurovision.
A police dispersal order is in place here until Wednesday lunchtime. Andy Gill, BBC North West Tonight, Kirby.
Well, Emily Sporrell is the Police and Crime Commissioner for Merseyside. I spoke to her a little earlier and I asked her what she'd say to people if they were considering further protests.
I understand that there is obviously anger in the community about things at the minute. You know, it is the right for individuals to be able to protest peacefully. I would just urge people to maybe take a minute and just express some calm about what has been going on. There's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of rumour and misinformation out there at the minute, and I really want people just to think about what the concerns are. And I'm very happy to have conversations, and I will be going out to have conversations with committee members and partners to understand some of those concerns. But, you know, I would just urge people just to have some caution around some of the misinformation that is out there at the minute that I think is leading to some of this, some of the need to protest.
And I think some of the misinformation you're alluding to has actually been brought up by some of the people we spoke to. They said they weren't far right. They didn't protest because they're supporters of the far right, but because they're worried about their children because of a video that has been widely shared online.
Unfortunately, I think there is a contingent who will take the concerns that local people might have and use a gathering as a way to spark violence, which is what we saw on Friday. And what I don't want to happen is to see that happen again. So I absolutely understand if people have concerns. You know, please do have those conversations, feed any information into the police. But just to offer some reassurance, that particular incident, it is being taken seriously and it is being investigated by Merseyside Police.
You did mention that people have the right to protest, of course, but do you think people should be allowed to demonstrate outside hotels where we know there are asylum seekers who will have already gone through terror and escaping countries?
I think protest is a fundamental right that we have in this country. It's absolutely right that is protected. People have the right to peaceful protest, and certainly Merseyside Police will always work to facilitate those peaceful protests. I think it's proper that we have a conversation around when those protests are actually aimed at causing harm and distress and targeted at a very particular group who, as you say, are actually very, very vulnerable, are fleeing persecution, have already gone through huge amounts of trauma, and to a certain extent are being targeted, possibly unfairly, for what's happened. So, you know, I think it's definitely right that we should have a conversation around how we maintain that right for peaceful protest, but without causing that harm and distress that we saw on Friday.
What help have you received from the governments? They've sent us a message saying that they're working closely with police to ensure the safety of everybody involved.
Well, I know that some of the officers within the Home Office, for example, are in conversation with the police and also with, obviously, Knowsley Council, and I understand those conversations are happening. I personally have had no interaction with any of the ministers involved in this.
OK. Emily Sparrow, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
A 19-year-old man from Liverpool appeared before magistrates today charged with assaulting a police officer and violent disorder outside the Suites Hotel. He was remanded in custody. 14 other people arrested have been bailed pending the outcome of police inquiries. On to other news now, and an inquest has heard how a 22-year-old woman took her own life at a private psychiatric hospital in Cheshire after information about a previous suicide attempt wasn't passed on. Laura Davis was transferred more than 100 miles to Arbury Court in Warrington just 3 months before she died in 2017. Phil McCann's been in court where the jury was this afternoon sent out to consider its verdict, Phil, and a lot of evidence was about the lack of communication between the two hospitals.
That's right, Annabelle. Yes, the jury here was told that growing up, Laura Davis had a diagnosis of bipolar disorder, but that she was funny and that she was happy. But that, the jury was told, changed when she was sexually assaulted when she was just 14 years old. After that, she had a diagnosis of a personality disorder and she began to self-harm. In fact, the jury was told that when she was admitted to Wootton Lawn, that's a psychiatric hospital in Gloucester near where she lives, when she was admitted there were 48 recorded attempts at self-harm, some of which were so serious that she had to have operations in hospital. Also, while she was there, one of Laura's friends killed herself using the same method that Laura would eventually go on to use herself. In fact, just 2 days after her friend died, Laura attempted to take her own life using the same method. Then in 2016, Laura was moved to Arbury Court. That is a privately run, secure psychiatric hospital in Winwick, just outside Warrington here. Now, the jury here has been told that information on the items that posed a suicide risk to Laura weren't passed on between the two hospitals.
Yeah, and Laura's mother, she gave evidence about that issue to her daughter's inquest, didn't she?
She did, yes. This is Joanna Davis, and you can see her here in the middle next to Laura's stepfather. Joanna Davis told the jury that Laura had told her, as well as her stepfather and her doctors, about what she said was her preferred method of suicide, but that hadn't been passed on. In fact, she said that she and Laura's stepfather had themselves told Arbury Court about the items that posed a serious risk to Laura, but that she said that wasn't communicated to the team that was providing frontline care. Although the jury was told that piece of information wasn't recorded in notes of one of the meetings where they said it had been passed on. The nurse in charge of Laura's care said that she would have expected that piece of information to have been passed on to her and her team. The jury was, though, told that the materials that Laura used to end her life wouldn't necessarily have been taken away from her after one suicide attempt. Now, the jury here has the job of deciding whether Laura intentionally decided to take her own life or was attempting self-harm, and they'll continue to consider their verdict here tomorrow.
Phil, thanks very much. And if you've been affected by any of the issues mentioned in that report, you can seek help and advice through the BBC's Action Line. Now, one of our region's Deputy Chief Fire Officers has praised the emergency services for their response in the aftermath of the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. David Searle from Merseyside Fire and Rescue says time to help any further survivors is running out, but teams are doing their absolute best. Davinia Ramos reports.
A week on from the earthquake which has devastated so many people's lives, a moment of hope as rescuers unite a mother and daughter. This reunion was filmed by one of the Lancashire Fire and Rescue officers that are on the ground in Turkey, but conditions for those helping survivors is tough.
Been an extremely traumatic week for them out there, I think. Obviously, the conditions on the ground around the cold at night, quite starting to get warm during the day for the team, and now tiredness starting to kick in because they've been out there for 7 days now, working exceedingly hard, 24 hours a day really, to rescue anyone who's left in a survivable condition.
77 search and rescue specialists have been deployed from the UK, including from 4 teams here in the northwest. They've been given equipment that enables them to detect people under the rubble.
Each morning, the incident commander will have a briefing with all the personnel there, and they will tell us which buildings need to be searched on that day. So one particular day, we were given 70 buildings to go and search in our own time, and the team will go out and do that. The best attribute we have really is the search dogs that we have with us. We've got 4 dogs. The dogs can get across that rubble pile really, really quickly and identify whether there is a live casualty.
Since last week, the UK ISAR team have rescued 8 people and aided with the rescue of 3 others. Andy Clark is from Cheshire Fire and Rescue Service and is currently in Hayats in Turkey. He sent us this from the front line.
On one occasion, we were working for 19 hours to rescue 2 trapped people that were buried in a rubble pile, and we worked as a whole team to help release these 2 people and get them to hospital alive.
Rescue workers are still trying their best to find as many people as possible, but with time running out, there's a sense that the rescue mission is coming to an end, and the focus will soon shift to caring for those who've survived. Davinia Ramos, BBC Northwest Tonight.
There have been some big games in the EFL also, not least in the Championship, where Burnley continued their relentless march back to the Premier League with a 3-0 win over Preston. Nathan Teller with all 3 goals. Another hat-trick hero was Dion Charles of Bolton as his side won 5-0 at Peterborough to further emphasise their League One promotion credentials. In League Two, it's become all about survival for Rochdale, who've had a difficult few years on and off the pitch. With the club bottom of the Football League and with relegation to the National League now a genuine fear, we went to Rochdale on Saturday as they hosted promotion challengers Northampton. Rochdale have had a fair few relegation scraps down the years, but that doesn't make times like this any less concerning for supporters.
I think this is the worst squad I've seen in a hell of a long time here. But Dale, prove me wrong. For Christ's sake, prove me wrong. I don't want to go in the National League.
I've been coming here a long time, so it's not going to get any different, really. It's fresh air, it's fun.
You've come here for the fresh air. Manager Jim Bentley arrived in August with the club already bottom of the table. He brought with him extensive experience of the division from his days at Morecambe and a reputation as something of a lower league miracle worker.
To be fair to Jim, he's doing okay. For me, it's not a case of calling for Jim's head. I think what we've got to do is get more out of these players because there has been some dire performances from these lads.
Off the field, the club remains fan-owned following an attempted so-called hostile takeover from outside investors.
We fought off our battles. The board are looking for investors to come in. Obviously, there's a lot of bad investors out there, and it's a case of making sure they find the right one.
Are you confident Rochdale can stay up this season? I know it looks a bit bleak at the minute.
We got some new players came in last week, so you're just hoping that it's just crossing every fingers, basically.
What are you hoping for today?
1-0. 1-0 win. We're going to stay relegation until last game of season. We're going to get a last-minute winner that keeps us in League 2.
Well, Rochdale go into this 5 points from safety, and I know it's only the middle of February, but already this feels like a must-win match. Or perhaps even must not lose. That didn't look like a side at the bottom of the Football League by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, but results, tell you that's why we are, because we can't cling on to a lead like we did today. they've given their absolute all today and been clapped off by their own fans, and rightly so, because they've given the passion and the aggression and the running that that's non-negotiable. We've just got to keep believing, keep working hard, and if we turn in performances like we have done today, I think we'll win more than what we lose.
Now, one of the most famous sweets in the world is made right here in the Northwest, Uncle Joe's Mint Balls. And the company, based in Wigan, is celebrating its 125th birthday this year. The firm was started in a small house in the town. Katie Barnfield has been to the factory to find out more.
A lot has changed in 125 years, but not these. Uncle Joe's Mint Balls have been made here in Wigan to the same recipe since 1898. And it's still run by two brothers from the same family.
Mr Santos, who was our great-great-uncle, he was the founder of the company, but his wife was the one that made sweets. So she made sweets in a back kitchen and sold them on the corner of Mr Santos' fruit stall. It became so popular, got rid of the vegetables and started making the sweets.
They moved into this factory back in 1921, and to this day, the sweets are still mostly made by hand.
This looks like the moment of truth, Anthony.
It certainly is. So when we get to the required temperature, we pour it out onto the water-cooled slabs, and you can see it's just burning a little bit, which is what we want.
There's a place in Wigan, and a place you all should know, a busy little factory where things are all aglow.
In their 125-year history, the sweets have had songs written about them and have been sold as far away as New York and Japan. The factory even once got a visit from the now King Charles. The company have now launched a whole year of celebrations to mark the anniversary.
We're doing a joint thing with Northern Seoul. They're celebrating 50 years this year. We're doing a lot with Wigan Rugby. It'll be interesting. We're doing a busking competition, 2 days of busking.
As part of the anniversary this year, they're of course celebrating a very familiar flavour, but also quite a unique one as well that John's got here for his lunch today. John, what have you got there?
Well, Wigan are famous for pies, and Baldy's pies, and Wigan have come up with this 125 anniversary pie, which is lamb pie with Uncle Joe's Mint Balls sauce.
Wow, that is a combination. Enjoy, John.
From being made in a family kitchen to 5 tonnes being produced every year, John and Anthony don't plan to change anything. So fans of the sweets can enjoy them for many more years to come. Katie Barnfield, BBC North West Tonight in Wigan.
Sorry, I'm giggling. I'm giggling with you about nonsense. Anyway, all I was going to say is that, bless her, Katie's new to our North West Tonight team, and the first thing we do is send her out and make her wear a blue hairnet.
With
kind,
Joe
isn't it?
His mint balls.
Yeah, what were you giggling about?
No, nothing. Absolutely nothing from me. Giggling about the weather, of course. We started off with slightly cloudy skies this morning. Thanks for sending this picture in Lancashire. But actually, for many of us, we ended up with beautiful spells of sunshine. Here it is in Cheshire this afternoon. And this is all thanks to high pressure, firmly with us. It's going to stay with us through tomorrow. So expect similar for most of us. We'll get this weak front that's going to introduce a bit more cloud, maybe the odd spot of rain for Cumbria, Lancashire. And then this cold front that comes through Wednesday, that's when we'll start to see a bit of a breakdown. So back to the here and now. If you're heading out through this evening, well, dry and actually going to get a little bit chilly. Plenty of clear skies and the breeze remains light as we head overnight. Now for the Isle of Man, that weak front just brings a little bit more cloud. Temperatures will be about 6 degrees. Elsewhere, we'll drop down to about freezing or just above. So expect a frost for tomorrow morning. It will be a chilly but dry start with plenty of sunshine. Now, for the Isle of Man, there will be more cloud here through the morning. Could be thick enough as we head through the day for the odd spot of rain and drizzle. Elsewhere, plenty of sunshine after that chilly start. You will see cloud increasing as we head through the day. And like I said, for Cumbria, Lancashire, I mean, you could get the odd spot of drizzle, but on the whole, it's a dry day. Temperatures, we should be about 7 degrees. We're going to get to about 12 or 13, so mild as the air comes up from the south. And you can see the orange on the map. Now, it's going to stay with us as we head through tomorrow. Tuesday, the cold front will turn things a little bit cooler, but then the mild air returns once again. So as we head Wednesday, it starts off fine. The Isle of Man will see the rain first. That's going to push through. I think the heaviest will be for Cumbria and Lancashire. It clears through quite quickly. Behind it, some spells of sunshine to end the day. And still, yes, cooler, but we're going to get to about 9 or 10 degrees. Thursday, fair bit of cloud. There will be outbreaks of rain. And then Thursday into Friday, we are expecting gales. A very windy day to come on Friday. So keep on top of the forecast.
Oh, gales. Today it felt properly like spring, didn't it?
In my garden, things are coming out.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Blooming.
Buds and everything, and they're all going to be blown away by these...
Well, yeah, Friday.
Blimmin' gales. Thank you very much. That's it from us. I'm going to be back with the late news at 10:30. I hope you can join us then. But from everyone here, a very good evening. Bye-bye.
Take care.